So, hey, everybody. I'm so glad you're here with me today. I have with me Jaia Thomas. Hi, Jaia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really good. And I'm really glad you took the time to do this. You guys should know that we're recording this in the week between Christmas and New Year's, which I feel like is, I don't know about you, Jaia, but for me, it's like, am I supposed to be working or am I supposed to just be turning into part of my own couch right now? Are you full on working this week? What's your
No,
life like?
I'm not. This is like the first time I've turned on my Zoom camera all week. So, and as soon as we're done, I'm turning it back off.
Great, perfect, great. We can put on our jogging pants again. So thank you for spending the time with us. And part of the reason that I wanted to have you on the show is that my audience is primarily actors, writers, directors, showrunners, people who are making entertainment happen. And when I learned about your organization and what you stand for, I know that this audience cares about that. So I want to let you kind of spill the beans on what it is you do and how it came to be. So can I pass the mic to you and have you just share a little bit about this incredible, you've created more than one organization in your lifetime, but it sounds like this is the one that is the one we're talking about a lot right now. So can I hand the mic to you and have you share a little bit about your passion?
Sure, definitely. And thank you again for having me. So I'm actually a entertainment attorney. I've been practicing for about 15 years. And one thing I've just seen in my experience in the entertainment industry, especially more recently, is, these conversations about diversity and the entertainment industry. These conversations have become very big conversations over the past 4 to 5 years. And one thing that I had noticed as an attorney, as someone who's kind of in the background, is that most of these conversations were always focused on the talent side and making sure that there was diversity on screen, in the movies and, on television shows. But I felt like there weren't really any conversations being had about diversity behind the scenes with regards to the attorneys, the agents, the managers, the publicists, and those spaces are still very white spaces. And so it was something that was kind of always, I was always thinking about, something always in the back of my mind, like, why aren't more people talking about this issue, this problem? And then the year Black Panther came out, this was kind of the tipping point for me. I had a conversation with one of my girlfriends who's a Black publicist, and we were talking about Black Panther. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's so diverse. Look at all these, Black faces on screen. We've made so much progress. And I was talking to my girlfriend and we said, well, I wonder who represents the cast of Black Panther. Like, who are their publicists? Who are their lawyers? And I spent that weekend looking up all their reps, and all of them had white publicists. All of them had white attorneys, except Lupita. All of them had white agents, and all of them had white managers. And I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And so that weekend, I bought a domain, diverserepresentation.com. And I said, I'm going to put together a database of all of the Black agents, attorneys, managers, and publicists in Hollywood so that no one could use the excuse anymore of, I can't find, a Black agent or a Black attorney. Now here's a free website that literally lists everybody in the industry. So that is how my company, Diverse Representation, came about. At the time I launched it, I did not know what it was going to turn into. I just wanted it to be a resource for people. And since then, over the past 3 years, it's really grown into different programs, different events, and different diversity initiatives throughout the entertainment industry.
First of all, I just want to say, hot damn, that's so awesome what you just described. I'm so glad it exists, but I want to go back to the moment when you and your girlfriend and you're like, were you like in a fit of rage Googling these things up? What was the emotion? What was going through you? Were you like, this can't be true? Like, what can you tell me a little bit about that moment? Like that weekend, I should say, when this thing became born out of whatever emotion was coming up for you?
Yeah, honestly, I was annoyed because a lot of those actors, off screen, a lot of them are always preaching about diversity too, and I just felt like there was a disconnect here, off screen. And when you do your interviews, you're always talking about how important diversity is. But then when I look at your team, I don't see any diverse people on the team. So to me, it just felt like a lot of these people are walking contradictions. And
Yeah.
I was annoyed by it, and I thought, this is kind of ridiculous, honestly. And so did my friend.
Totally. And I want to just ask because many actors are listening and many people who are creative, and you work with creative people, so you understand this. There can be this weird, like, well, I got to take what I can get at the table mentality, which is such a crappy mentality that is out there. Right. And so when you're seeing, people that I'm sure you like either look up to or idolize or think well of, and then you find this out, where do you go with your empathy around that? Is it like, you guys really screwed up here? Or do you go into a position of like, this is because they don't know? Like, where do you show, how do you relate to them differently now, I would say?
Yeah, I mean, I have heard that argument before of like, well, some of these people are the ones who came to me, when my career was starting to take off. So I really didn't have, much choice. I don't know if I fully buy that. Like, I do think that, the bulk of people who maybe came to you maybe did not look like you. But I think as your career progresses, you do have more control over who you hire and who you bring onto your team. And I just don't believe that it's completely out of people's hands,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
decide who's going to be on their team. And it's not like it's just one person. I mean, you have a slew of people from your financial advisor to your business manager to your accountant, out of like these 10 people, you mean to tell me that like not one can,
Yeah.
one person of color could, you can find to be on that team?
Yeah.
I just don't know if I buy it.
Right. And I appreciate that stance so much. And I love that you're like, and so I'm gonna make it almost impossible for you not to be able to find someone. That's like that was your like
Exactly.
your initial solution. So that was like the initial solution to make like this, this awesome resource. And then you said it's grown into something else. What has this taught you? What has creating this taught you so far? What have you learned, do you think, from this?
Whew, it's taught me a lot. It has taught me how to, um, oh gosh, it's taught me so many different things. The entertainment industry is a very collaborative industry. And running this business, I've had to collaborate with a lot of different people, a lot of different organizations and companies. It's really taught me how to be better as a collaborator. I mean, when I wear my attorney hat, I don't really have to collaborate with anybody. I can just do contracts and, finalize them. But in this role, I've really had to hone my skill in terms of, being a good collaborator and also being a good listener and like listening to people, finding out where the holes are and,
Hmm.
figuring out how to fill those holes in the
Yeah.
industry.
And so I love the way that you said that, like, my own job, I get to be the boss. And
Right.
now I've had to be like, oh, and now there's other people here I have to talk to. Damn it. Okay, great. Okay. I mean, that's the way I think about that sometimes. But then also, like, things are better when we collaborate. So when you're and out of annoyance was born this, how do you now relate to your organization? Like, how do you now relate to it? Out of this annoyance of like a need for, what is your new relationship with it?
Yeah, so I'm not annoyed anymore. I mean, I still have my moments. But more than anything, I'm excited, because I think that this is just the beginning. And I think that there are so many other opportunities, that diverse representation can fill. There's so many other voids that the company can fill that I'm just really excited for, what's to come in the future.
Yeah. And so are people who are coming to you or coming to your organization, are they actors, lawyers, accountants, monies, every single kind of person you can imagine in the entire entertainment industry at this point?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, we do have actors looking for representation who come to us, writers, producers, directors. We also host a lot of different like programs and events. Some of those programs and events are geared more towards talent. Some of those programs and events are geared more towards, people on the behind the scenes, the agency attorneys. So honestly, we have some type of programming for everybody.
Got it.
So it kind of runs the gamut.
And as the person in charge, I guess we would describe this as, right? Are you now having a team that's supporting you with all of this? And how's that going? That's a different arm for you to be
That is
flexing,
a very
right?
different arm for me.
Yeah.
So initially, when I started, I was doing everything. I was the web designer. I was the social media manager. I was the, head of partnerships. I was wearing all of the hats.
Yeah.
And actually, when the pandemic hit, I realized I cannot do this anymore. I cannot do all of this by myself anymore because I was exhausted. And it was actually during the pandemic that I started to bring on some people. So I hired a graphic designer, I
Right.
hired a web designer to start really helping build out everything that was needed. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do have a team now, but initially for the first year and a half, I did everything on my own.
That is, as it always is, I find it's
Right.
just unfortunately, right, right. And now there's a little bit of a village growing, it sounds like. And so, as you think about the future for what I don't know, the stamp you want this organization to make, or that you, Jaya, wants to make, what comes to mind when you think about that? Do you have a very like, this is the quantifiable goal, or is it more is it more metaphoric? Tell me, like, not metaphoric, but is it more of a picture that you imagine? Like, tell me how you think about this.
Sure. In terms of the stamp that I want to leave behind with this company, I think it's a couple of different things. Number one, I want to see people who look like me in all of the rooms in Hollywood. That's the C suite, that is the office of the president, the CEO, general counsel. I want our faces to permeate every aspect of the industry, and that's what I want my company to push towards. I also want all types of actors to have more diverse teams. That's really something that I want to see. Not just even Black actors, but all actors. I just would
Mhm.
love to see more diversity on all of their teams. I like to see more ownership in the industry with regards to people who look like me.
Mhm.
So, people look like me owning our own talent agencies and owning, our own talent management companies. I would like to see us have a bigger stake just in general in the industry, because I feel like our creativity, people who look like me, I feel like a lot of our creativity helps drive this industry, but we don't really see a lot of the financial benefits that come as a result of that. So I would like to see that change.
Yeah. And I love the way that you're talking about this, because I think many of anyone thinking about diverse representation thinks about what's on the screen, what's on the screen, what's on the screen. And and I think even there's a little bit of awareness of like director, writer, but like beyond, I think you're going like, yes, and people, the person who represents that writer and that director and that actor and who does their hair and who like who is doing their money, who would like, and this is the place where like, I would say some of us are dummies and don't even think about it, which is not fair. I think, first of all, there's that piece of it.
Yeah.
But also, I think that this is where we're saying, like, this is what it would really look like to have what we want the industry to look like. And so,
Absolutely.
have you find like anyone since you've started this, like championing the work that you're doing? Like, is there any like you're like people that you like, were like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, we're getting a meeting with those people, or like did you ever have those kind of jittery, exciting moments that you were meeting with people you didn't think you would, or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely had some exciting moments over the past few years. Definitely a ton of support. A lot of people, throughout the industry have been very supportive of diverse representation. I've had a lot of champions. I've had a lot of people from companies, like Netflix and like Warner Media and like CAA really stand behind what I'm trying to do. So yeah, it's been an exciting ride, and I've met a lot of amazing people who have really championed this cause along the way.
Yeah. And what does that mean to you, Jaya, personally? What do you find? Like, what satisfaction do you take from that?
Oh, I mean, it's exciting, and it helps. It just helps keep me going,
Yeah,
because it is a lot of work. It can be very tiring, and
sure.
when you have people kind of cheering you on, that kind of just helps push you to the finish line every
Yeah.
week when you're completely exhausted and I just want to take a break.
Yes. Has it changed the way that you think about the law that you want to practice or your career at all?
Honestly, not really. And I do keep the two fairly separate. So I don't really intertwine diverse representation with my legal practice. Um, and it's funny because the time I've spent on diverse representation has taken away, time that I would be practicing law. So I
Yeah.
actually don't take on as many clients now as I did before. But otherwise, no, I wouldn't say it's really changed,
Got it.
what I want to practice or kind of what I want to do in the legal industry.
Got it. And is the practice that you do in your own law practice is related to entertainment? Because I might have got this wrong, so you correct me. Is it is part of it? Part of your expertise is around copyright law, isn't that correct?
Correct. So my work is in the entertainment industry, primarily TV and film. So I represent talent, writers, producers. All my work is transactional, meaning I don't litigate. It's mainly reviewing contracts, negotiating deals, things like that. And then I do a little soft IP, so
Hmm.
copyright, trademark registrations as well. And then on the sports side, I represent athletes who are at the intersection of sports and entertainment. So athletes who may have their own podcast or first look deals or production companies who are kind of doing something in TV and film as well.
I mean, you have a cool job. I mean, do you think your
Thank
job is cool? It sounds pretty cool to me.
There was no moment.
Does your family like, is it a law family? Are you the first lawyer of the family? Are you the
First lawyer in the
first
family.
lawyer? And are they like, what is it you do? We don't like, if I became a lawyer, my family would be like, what do you do all day? I don't understand. You're like an outlaw. I don't understand your life. Like, you're laughing, so I'm assuming that they're like, they don't understand. Do they understand your life?
My parents parents definitely do.
Okay.
But outside of that, sometimes I get like other relatives who will call me up and be asking me about like, oh, I got a traffic ticket. Now what? And it's like, I don't even do that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that happens a lot. But yeah.
Yeah, call Jaia. She's a lawyer. She knows. She knows. She knows what she's
She
doing.
knows
Totally.
everything. She knows
Yes.
everything in all 50 states. Yeah.
Totally. Totally. So is your in the work that you've been doing, what's one thing that you can point to as like, I know we made a difference for either that person, that production? Is there a story that you can point to that you might be able to share with us?
Sure. There have been a lot of different things. I will say this year, actually, I'll take it back. Last year, we did a pilot program with Netflix. And the goal of the program was to pair Black law students and Black lawyers with attorneys at Netflix, just kind of as a mini mentoring program so they can really learn, what it's like to be an attorney at Netflix and kind of hopefully help usher them into these similar type of positions. And so after this program, we got feedback from some of the participants, and one of the girls was like, this literally changed my life. I am a law student in Mississippi, and without this program, there's no way I would have been able to get mentorship from an attorney at Netflix in Los Angeles. And she was like, it's just completely changed the trajectory of like my career.
Wow.
So when I hear things like that, that's very, that makes me very excited. And we've done a lot of programs like that where we've gotten that kind of feedback. And we did a program this year, actually, an entertainment executives pipeline program to help Black professionals who want to become executives in TV and film. And the feedback we got from that program was amazing as well. We brought people in to help clean up their resumes, to help mentor them, to, let them shadow. And a couple of those people ended up getting jobs, after the program. So I've just heard it all. Some people have also gotten representation, gotten lawyers and agents. And, it's really kind of run the gamut, honestly.
And I love what one of the things you're showing, because I was reading this on your website too, is that the pipeline that you're creating, because it's not just like, hey, here we are. It is actually like, let us now put into practice ways for these jobs, these positions to be filled by people. It's not, not that there's anything bad about protesting or raising a voice or saying hello. That's really wonderful. But actually, what I love is you're actually you're making a pathway for some people to take action here. What is one of the, do you ever, what are some roadblocks that get in the way? Do you ever find damn, there's a face. I see a face. What?
So many. Oh gosh, where do I even start? Initially when I started this company, this is just maybe a personal roadblock, but I launched it with like my own money, so I didn't have like, oh, here's like a trust fund to help me like launch this company, or, a loan to, like, it was literally out of my own pocket. And so that was definitely a bit challenging. And that's another reason why I wore a lot of hats, because I did not want to spend money to hire a lot of people. But that was definitely a roadblock in terms of just like the funding to get the company off the ground and to keep it running. Another roadblock, honestly, when I started it, there are some people, when I launched it, I emailed them and, told them about it and was like, would love your support. And it was like crickets, no response, nothing. But then funny enough, a year or two later, they come back around like, oh my God, how can I help? And So sometimes people, now I have a lot of support, but sometimes when you're launching something at first, sometimes people may not jump on the bandwagon because they don't know if it's going to take off, or they're just, sometimes people don't jump on the bandwagon until they see other people jump on the bandwagon.
Right. It's like a startup. You're like, I needed my venture cap. I needed my, not necessarily money capital, but I needed my capital, my investment capital in this thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there were some people who, just did not respond to my email, or, just didn't necessarily believe in what I was doing at first. So that was definitely a roadblock too. And then egos, Hollywood is full of a lot of egos. And so some people, that was a roadblock too. Some people were like, just had egos, like, well, why didn't you consult me about this? I don't know. It's just LA and Hollywood it can be a lot of like just egos. And I would say that was a bit of a roadblock as well.
Sure, can hear that. I heard it in your voice without saying any names. I heard it in your voice. um, and I love that you gave us the vision of where you had the business is headed and what this means for you. As it continues to grow, or does it not want to grow in your mind? Are you like, this is how big we want it to be? Like, is
Oh
there
no, I
more?
want it to grow.
Okay, look at that face. You guys need to watch this on YouTube when we post it, because Jaia makes some great faces. You could tell she doesn't have to speak; she could just make the face, and I know what she wants. So when you say when you want it to grow, can you give us like that vision just a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I think diverse representation is building a name in LA and in New York, but I want people, in every city to know about it, to know that it is a resource. I can't say for sure that right now, people in Miami or Detroit necessarily are overly familiar with this, but I do want it to get to that point where it is. And so it's a slow build, but yes, I do want it to grow. I want us to have more programming, more events. I want us to build out our website and make it even, stronger, you know, better in a lot of different ways. So yeah, no, this is not it at all. I feel like I'm just getting started, honestly.
I love that. I feel like I'm just getting started. And so for all the people who are listening, and if they want to get involved, it may not be a perfect match for them to get involved, but if they want to get involved, what is the best way for them to make themselves known by your company, and also not to waste your time? Because we know we have a slim team here. We don't want to just be putting in a bunch of requests and getting in your way. Who would make sense to show up in your inbox or wherever it's meant to be? Who makes sense to reach out to? Let me ask the question differently. Who makes sense to reach out to you right now? Who would be the people that you'd want to be hearing
Sure.
from?
I think a couple different people make sense to reach out. I think number one, if you are looking for representation, it makes sense to reach out. Another category I would say is if you are a rep, if you are an agent or attorney or manager looking to get involved, it makes sense to reach out. Number three, if you're an organization or a company interested in partnering in some capacity, it makes sense to reach out. The best way to reach out and stay involved is sign up for our newsletter. If you go to our website, you can sign up for our newsletter directly through our website. And we publish a newsletter about every month that just shares a lot of different information. I would say that's one way. Obviously, follow us on social media across all our platforms. And then if you ever want to shoot an email, there is a contact page on our website where you can send that email.
Great. And then I have a question for you. As a white cisgendered gay guy, right? So I know that I have privilege here. I'm not always passing, but sometimes I pass as straight, right? So I've got some privilege. I'm going to be very seriously aware of my privilege here. But I often will interact with an actor or director or manager or an agent or someone who I believe would identify as, and for you specifically, diverse representation is Black. Is that correct? I want to make sure I'm getting it right. Right.
It is.
Great. Yeah. Oh, I love that smile. Yes. Okay. So, so if I am interacting with someone who I think is Black, and I want to make sure that I say the word think, because I could be wrong with the right. What is the best way for me? I don't want to, if you feel comfortable sharing with me, the best way to present, hey, this is an organization that I think might be helpful to you. What would you advise me in terms of doing that? Not sensitively, I guess. You can do that too, but I just, in terms of like what is right to tell them so that they can say, yes, this is a resource to you.
Sure. I would, just let them know, hey, there's this company, Diverse Representation. They not only have kind of this database of reps, of agents, attorneys, and managers, but they also have a lot of programming to help talent. So they have seminars on how to become a television writer. They have seminars featuring executives that you can tune into. They have a lot of different programs to really just help talent, take their career to the next level, and you should check them out. You
Great.
should sign up for their newsletter and go to their website.
That's right. You should sign up for the newsletter. Exactly. Great. Great. Perfect. And this is interesting. Do you ever find yourself like, oh, we don't really help you? Like, is that ever a conversation you're having to have?
Not really. I mean, honestly, there have been times where people from other nationalities, other races, we've had white people reach out, we've had Latinx people reach out wanting representation, and we never turn anyone away saying, well, no, you can't get a Black attorney because you're white. I mean,
Right.
you want everyone to have a Black attorney. So
Right.
no, but we do have people who contact us who are sometimes like, would you help me? Like, I don't know. Like, do I fit your demographic? So we do have people who kind of like tiptoe a little bit when they email us, but no, we haven't turned anybody away.
Great. Great. And also I think what you just said is so important that like anybody, it sounds like you would like anyone to use this database. This isn't just for, yeah, obviously we want everyone to have a Black lawyer, right? That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Got it. This has been such a great conversation, Jai. I love how honest you were able to be about something that is your baby that you've really made go big. And how old is diverse representation at this point?
It is a little over 3 years old.
Wow. So you started right before the pandemic. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. We said Black Panther. Yeah. The weekend that you saw Black Panther.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep. And oh, wait, I have a question. This is super random. Any movies you're excited to see or that you know are actually starting to move towards what you're looking for? Like, have you done another heated weekend of looking everybody up? Has that ever happened again?
I have not, but maybe I should. I have
Yeah.
not done that since Black Panther.
I'm dying for you to do it again. Like that, you should have that. You should have. Wait, I want you to start in your business the annual Black Panther test, and you like take a movie that is purported to be a Black movie, and you do, Jaia's test, and she says this whatever it is. I think that'd be so cool.
You know, it's so funny when I looked at the Black Panther stuff. I mean, all the reps. I put together a collage just so people can see the visual, because I think it's one thing to say something and then one thing to see something. And I put literally a collage of like just all these white faces. Like these are all the people representing Black Panther, which I think, and I posted it online and people were like, oh my God, that's crazy. But in terms of movies coming out, honestly, I don't even know. I haven't been to a movie theater since the pandemic. So unless it's streaming, I don't really even know what's coming out, honestly.
I hear what you're saying. Well, I am dying for the next. I really am like, I want to go do the Black Panther test. So I'm going to start. Let's all think of this as an inspiration. And I think for the people who listen to this podcast, I'll just say, Jai, we have a lot of people who are creative, who have entrepreneurial spirit, whether that is in their own creativity or in something else that they do. Just hearing how you were so inspired and then took action right away, I think is such a lesson for us all to learn from, because we can so quickly say someone else is already doing this, or this isn't worth it, or why should I bother? And you just wrote. Or
I don't have all the pieces in place yet.
Yes, right. I'm not ready.
They're just like, oh, I don't have all this together yet, but it's like, you don't have to, it'll come together.
Well, and also, I think one of the things you did so beautifully is you made clear from the beginning, this is my mission. So whether or not you had a website that was perfect, you could say what the heck you were doing to someone clearly. And I think that's the kind of clarity we hope for when we have inspiration strikes. And so I just want everyone to just hear how that type of clarity didn't mean the website was perfect yet. That clarity meant she knew what you wanted, what she was working for. So I just appreciate you sharing that piece of the genesis of this organization. Thank you. Diverse representation, that's what you are on Instagram. That's what your website is. This is all easy to find. Yeah.
Super easy. Diverse representation on Instagram, our website, and then Twitter, we're at Diverse Rep.
Great. Thank you so much for really honestly sharing your journey with this and thank you for what you're doing in the world, honestly. I know that there's a bunch of people listening right now that are already on your website, looking at the Instagram, sign up for your newsletter. So don't you worry, you'll see an influx. And if we can ever do anything for you, please let us know. We'd love to have you back on the show. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. Really glad.